declarations to make. I am a member of the Florida's Mutual Men.
Are there numbers coming up?
I am a minister to Unitarian Universalist Church in Ballard. And my strong bias is I am anti-authoritarianism. Let's be clear about that. I am anti-authoritarianism. Now, I did not say that I am anti-authoritativism. Authoritative is when people learn, study, have real-life experiences, come back and talk to us in an authoritative and a reasonable way, and we engage in conversation. Authoritative. I'm for that, and we're for that, and I think that's what we're doing here today. I am not for authoritarianism. Authoritarianism is when somebody has power over you, whether it's a domestic relationship, whether it's a national relationship, whether it's your government, whether it's your corporation, whether it's your economic system. When somebody has power over you and speaks a lie, and you have to believe that lie as if it's true, and you know it's a lie. And you have to structure your life around that lie in order to get along in society. When the Supreme Court made the decision in the Citizens United versus the FCC that the Citizens United decision was good for a democracy and good for us as citizens, it was a lie. We are supposed to believe it. When the Supreme Court said that the extra money that corporations would be able to flood our political process with would be good because more voices would come out, and this is another voice in the program. And that is authoritarianism. So I am declaring my bias. I am anti-authoritarianism before we get started. I have a quote. Jane Addams, modified just a bit by Gregory myself. People who founded this nation didn't fight a war so they could have a couple citizen representatives sitting on congressional meetings with representatives from the British East India Company, or Goldman Sachs, or AIG, or Citibank, or Morgan Stanley, or the corporation of the military-industrial complex, or Exxon, or BP, or the medical industry. We are not to be sitting with these corporations in congressional meetings. They are not to be writing our legislation. We are. They, the blue-coat colonists, carried out a revolution in order to be free of oppression from corporate rule or oppression from government or otherwise. The blue-coat colonists did replace that oppressive government with the democratic self-ruling government. Us, we the people. We are here today to make a declaration, not necessarily protest, but to make a declaration. The Declaration of Independence from corporate rule. We, the people of the United States, in order to make democracy real and have justice for all, to defend against oppression, to fight for the welfare of all, to liberate our minds and hearts, and to safeguard our pocketbooks from the clutches of corporations, do hereby declare our independence from corporate rule, shouting for all to hear, corporations are not human persons and have no inherent inalienable human rights under the Constitution, and money is not speech, and in that we stand in solidarity. George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Paine, Abigail Adams, James Madison, Samuel Adams, and Patrick Henry are not looking down on us with pride. They are standing next to us, shoulder to shoulder, pushing back the Tory ruling elite, just as they did 230 years ago. We shall push the redcoats out of our government. We shall push the economic elite redcoats back to their proper place in a democracy, serving the people. When we reclaim our rights that were so abusively given to the economic elite, to a tool that the economic elite used, that tool that they used is the corporation, a tool that the economic elite use. The corporation now has civil liberties. We are in protest to that today. When we reclaim our rightful heritage that was stolen from us by the Supreme Court, we will prohibit all political activity by corporations. We will stop all corporate political donations and corporate lobbying. We will inspect plans for environmental health violations without warrant or prior notice, which we are not able to do now because corporations can claim civil liberties. We will revoke corporate charters when necessary by popular referendum. We will make corporations behave in the interest of the public good as our founding system corporations stealing natural resources. We will stop corporations from destroying our environment for profit and calling it public good, a jobs program. We will require labeling on all genetically modified foods. We will insist on labeling of the origin of food and the disclosure of any chemicals used in the food processing that we eat. We will be a free people again when corporate personhood rights are removed. We have a right to be here. We have the right to join our voices, and it is right for us to be here. When a government joins forces with the economic elite and creates a poverty class, a low-income working class, robs the middle class so that it no longer exists, it is right for us to be here. When a government can enact extraordinary rendition on its own citizens and suspend citizens' rights, it is right for us to be here. When we have rights but our rights have no meaning, it is right for us to be here. When corporations can wreak havoc in the Gulf of Mexico without citizen review, it is right for us to be here. When our government and the financial class profits from 5.6 million citizens losing their homes, it is right for us to be here. When 1 million businesses and non-businesses have filed for bankruptcy, it is right for us to be here. When 2.5 million workers in this country are paid less than minimum wage, it is right for us to be here. It is right for us to be here. You are right to be here. Today is a celebration of the people. And I want to tell a story about when I was in high school on the wrestling team. One of my best friends, John Milton, who was the captain of that wrestling team, during warm-up in the wrestling practice in calisthenics, we had to do 3 sets of 30 push-ups. And now John Milton, he was naturally strong, and we all hated him for it. That's not true. We loved him for it. What he did was, while we were doing those push-ups as captain of the team, we'd get to 20, we'd get to 25, and then he'd say, "Hold!" And we'd have to stop. Whether we were up or down, wherever it was, we had to stop. We had to hold that line. And he was terrible. He was horrible because he would not relent. So we'd do 1 set of push-ups, we'd do another set of push-ups. And the 3rd set of push-ups, we were dying. We were exhausted. And he would say on number 15, "Hold that line." Number 16, "Hold that line." Number 20, "Hold that line." We had to create a voice in our head that when it got tough and we wanted to quit, we had to create a voice in our head that when it got tough and we were going to fall, we had to create a voice in our head that said, "Hold that line." And that's what I say to the Occupy movement. Hold that line. Hold that line. Do not give up. We are right to be here. It is our right to be here. And you are right to be here today. Thank you for being here. You get me your name and email somehow, and I'll get you that. And also, I don't know where we are in the program, but if there are questions, we can answer the questions, more specific things, or...
What we were going to do at this point is open it up for an open forum. If you have questions for the gentleman, you can feel free to ask them, or if you'd like to come up and tell us why you're here today. Tell us why you chose to come out, how this affects you in your life. I know you've got to be a reason other than, oh, I had picked up in the bouquet and sounded like a nice afternoon. We need to hear those personal stories about why you're involved, what makes you come out, what makes you hold the sign out here and raise your voice. So, the floor is open to the public. Tell us who you are.
My name is Gregory. I was born in Germany right after the war. I learned what had happened to my country of birth every day of my life. I know what's going on in this country now. The same thing can happen again under a different cover, under a different name. In fact, it cannot happen. It is happening. We're losing our democracy. We are already past lost trust of our democracy. I'm here because I do not want for it to happen again. I'm here because I have 6 grandchildren, beautiful little babies. I want for them to have a chance. I want for them to have a choice. I want for them to be able to breathe fresh air and drink water that they can actually their bodies can actually handle. Because when you know just a little bit about what is happening to our food, to our water, to our air, it is just, it has to make you cry. It has to make you be here. It has to make you life. We have to hold this line. There is no choice. Thank you.
Thank you. I know somebody else has something to say. Oh, I've been talking all morning. That's why you're here. Okay. Well, the reason that I'm here, I think, is because I grew up in South Florida in Boca, and growing up there, I was constantly reminded by my parents that not everyone lives this way, not everyone lives this way, this is a bubble, this is a bubble. And the more that I did my own research and looking up things, and I started to read Nietzsche, and I saw the things that he saw were wrong with society, and I still notice that those things are still wrong in America, and except they're not wrong anymore, we're supposed to believe that they're right. And growing up, I always thought there's authoritative rule, authoritarism, like that is everywhere. It's in every public school, it's everywhere you go. No matter where you go, whether it's a corporation-owned place, whether it's a government-owned place, you're trained to act, dress, speak, think a certain way, even though you're supposed to have freedom of religion and freedom of sexual orientation, and none of that doesn't matter. It's still in the minds of the people matters, because our government still subconsciously and subliminally pushes those things, and I saw something so wrong with that. But with the Occupy movement, I finally saw, I was going crazy, not knowing what to do and how to get my voice heard, and going crazy with anger and resentment towards anyone I thought that had these thoughts. And then I realized they were programmed that way. And that people they're programmed. They think that people are inherently evil. They think that people are inherently violent. And we're not a violent species. We're just another mammal. That's it. We're not some elite, special species. We're not. We have the ability to hurt those things, the other species, but we should be conscious enough not to. And I think I saw such an abuse of our power as a species and as individual people, and I think that with the Occupy movement, when I saw that, I was like, finally, there are people that I know understand, and the immediate sense of community that I felt when I started getting involved, and the not being judged on my individual thing, because there's no way that everyone here agrees with everything I think, there's no way I agree with everything everyone else thinks, but we do know what is wrong, and there's a phrase that says, I love you because we hate the same thing. And I think that's really true of the Occupy, because we might all have different religious backgrounds and different beliefs of how the thing should run, but we know what is wrong, and we know what rights are being taken away, and we know that everyone deserves those rights. So we also love the same things, like social justice, economic justice, and freedom in general. And we know that the people that are working in our government are taking our freedom, and they already have taken our freedom, and they've already taken our economic freedom, and they're already starting to poison our minds in more ways than just what they're speaking, with what they put in the food, what they put in the water, and what's in the air. They're poisoning. How can you not care? How can you not care? And my biggest question is, how can you know about these things and not care? There's people that don't know. But the people that know and don't do anything about it, I don't understand, because I was going crazy, not knowing how it felt. And that's what I found a way to felt that felt away. Because there's not that empty feeling of, oh, I'm not fulfilled. And I don't have to feel that in sports and, you know, those crappy tabloid magazines and being obsessed with fantasy lives or alcohol or any of that. Because I actually am doing what I feel I should be doing, we're doing is what we should be doing. Because we're just trying to better the world. And I don't understand how anyone can say what we're doing is wrong. We're trying to make everything equal. So that's why I'm here. So,
Here, here, yep.
thank you.
Can we use this?
Yeah.
Have it low?
Can we use that?
Hard to hear.